Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
You are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, your number one hub for the latest political updates in Ghana and beyond. In a recent time, Gabby has also come out with his apology, apologizing to Ghanaians and tagging some tribe in the party to be the cause of the NPP's downfall. It keeps everybody talking in the party and not leaving Pratt out, who has come out to react to what he said and the behavior of the NPP, calling their action or their apology as a political gimmick and a whole lot of things that he has said about the NPP and what they are expecting from them in the upcoming years. Peter, I would like you to join me listening to what he said into detail.
Okay. Kwesi.
Well, I mean, the issue is not that simple. There are some complications. And the first thing I like to say is that Gabby, unlike Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is not contesting for the flag bearership of the New Patriotic Party. He's not hoping to be on the ballot for the 2028 elections. So what he does and says can be different from what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is expected to do and say. They're not the same. So that comparison, I don't think that is tenable. So Gabby can apologize, okay? If apology is wrong, Gabby can apologize and get away with it. After all, who is Gabby? Private legal practitioner, former cousin or nephew of the president.
No, they're still cousins. He's not former.
Yeah, but not of the president.
Oh, okay, of the former president. You mean,
Yes,
it's supposed to say his
yeah.
former cousin.
Okay.
That's what I said, yes.
Yeah,
He's a cousin of the former president.
Of the former president, that's what I mean.
Right.
So really, what is his locus? He's not the general secretary of the party. He probably may not even be a card-bearing member of the party. Probably, I don't know. You understand? So that is Gabby's status. Okay? So to say that he's urging others to do what he's not doing, I don't think is really a strong point. Because they're different people in different spaces, acting differently and so on. So that's number one. Number two, Gabby makes an interesting point, and it is this. I've had so many apologies, and Moro, let's be honest. You hear the apologies, and then you're sitting back and you say, but what are these people apologizing for?
Okay.
Oh, we are very sorry, please forgive us. And I said, forgive you for what? Because we don't know what we are asking forgiveness for. Okay? So to that extent, I think Gabby makes an interesting point. What is the apology about? Because if you're apologizing, you must be apologizing for something really specific. You understand? What is it that the apology is about? I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't. Collins, maybe you know why you are going all over the place apologizing. Apologizing for what? Come on, tell us what you're apologizing for. You understand? So Gabby's point is that if you're just going about rendering apology and nobody understands what the apology is about and so on, it may be a self-inflicted blow come 2028.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Because in 2028, what are you coming to tell us? You came and told us that we failed, and that we should forgive you. Where is the evidence that we are not going to fail this time? I mean, how can we convince ourselves that the failure is for the past and would not find repetition in the future? And so apology is not something which ought to be done lightly, as a political gimmick and so on. Right now, it seems to me that apology is becoming just a political gimmick of no real value. And that's the complaint that Gabby is making. And it seems to me that there is some validity to the claims that he's making about this, if you like, reckless apology. You understand? So let's put that down. Then he claims, and this appears to be a defense of his uncle, okay, that the impression is created that his uncle's government didn't do anything for the people of Ashanti.
He's not happy about that.
And that it is unfortunate because they did a lot and they did what the MPs demanded that they do. This is a matter of fact. It's either a fact or it's not a fact. Now, the minority MPs from Ashanti have come and said, at no point did they make the demands that Gabby claims that they made. Gabby has come back to apologize, interestingly. Is that an admission that what he said was not true? Gabby's apology, what does it really mean? Does it mean that what he said about the MPs was not true?
Yeah.
And if what he said about the MPs was not true, why did he say things that are not true about the MPs? You know, so it's just murky, you know. Look, our friends in the New Patriotic Party, our fellow countrymen in the New Patriotic Party must be told that elections ultimately about the promotion of the well-being of our people. You understand? Their living standards, their living conditions, and so on. That's what it ought to be about, not gimmicks. And we've seen too many gimmicks in our electioneering campaigns that makes me sick and sometimes destroys even good candidates. You know, there's going to be an election, and then they go and consult some election specialists and they say, look, the people who can give us the votes to win are young people. Young people like a certain type of music. So every time you appear on the platform, go and shake your waist to that type of music. And we've seen that. You know, so you've seen candidates jumping onto platforms, shaking their waist in some unrhythmic, you know, fashion, and actually sometimes looking like yo-yos. You know, so what is this? I mean, you read Atta Kennedy's book, Chasing the Elephant into the Bush.
Yeah.
And he makes the point about how much money was spent on useless concerts at the beach. And the politicians are still not learning. You know, they are giving more to gimmicks, childish gimmicks and so on, than discussing the substantive issues of our day. You know, so to some extent, I think that is what Gabby is attempting to talk about. But then he himself at a certain point has to run away from his claims quickly because I think he doesn't want to be in the eye of the storm and so on. But I think the essential point here is that our politics should be about real substance. The essential point here is that these gimmicks of just apologize. As for Ghanaians, if you apologize, they will sympathize with you and so on. You should just leave all of that in the background. You know, look, there are concrete problems facing us. Right now, as we sit on this platform, I'm told that some elite schools have been closed down in Accra. I'm sure you are aware.
I've heard that too.
Because of a viral infection which is running loose on some of the campuses. So that's a major national concern, viral infection. We've heard about World Health Organization's warnings that COVID-19 could come back with some vim. So the viral infection we're seeing on some of these elite campuses and so on, is it in any way related to a COVID-type infection and so on? We need to know.
Right.
We need. It's a major, important issue that we need to address.
Okay.
You know, right now as we sit here, and we said that repeatedly over and over again, there are many, many people who are being born in mining areas without limbs, with defective eyes, with you know, defective organs like kidneys and so on. You know, that's a major issue.
Yeah.
If we were to give you power 2028, how are you going to address these issues? You understand? How are you going to address these issues? Right now, as we sit here, cocoa production is going down by 50%. If we gave you power in 2028, are you going to revamp the cocoa sector?
Yep.
How are you going to revamp it? That's a major issue for us. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this morning we spent considerable time talking about reparative justice for Africa. Where is your position on reparative justice for Africa? You understand? We are still in an era where women are being discriminated against. You know, maternity leave for women is 6 weeks before birth and 6 weeks after birth, subjecting women and children to terrible conditions of life and so on. What is your position on this matter? Maternity leave for women. You understand? So these are the issues we're talking about. And stop the concerting, you know, the Jaguar Joker attitude to politics, you know, the shaking of waist on platforms and rendering of apologies that we don't know what they're about.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
I think essentially maybe that is what Gabby wanted to say. I don't know, but maybe that's what he wanted to say.
All right.
And if that is what he wanted to say, then he has a very strong point because our politics has become so pedestrian. Our politics is not related to the concrete issues that confront our people.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So, please, I mean, those of you who want to be president and so on, and Gabby asked a very important question.
Right.
I mean, if you come and you yourself confess that you did so very badly, why do you want to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. That's Gabby's statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard him loud and clear. He said, you came and said that you were a total failure. We didn't say it. You came and told us that you performed so horribly and that we are begging for forgiveness.
Yeah.
If you are begging for forgiveness, go and stay at home.
Yeah.
You can't be begging for forgiveness and coming back for the power to come and mess us up again.
Yeah.
I think this is clear message that Gabby put out there.
But you ask a very, very, very important question, and we wish that if we had Gabby on, we could ask him, but I doubt if he'll grant this interview because you asked, are you apologizing for what you said or where you said it and how you said it? You know, we need to know that. Is it where? As in the platform, or what exactly you said, which is, are you now saying it is not true, or you're saying it is true, but I shouldn't have said it at where I said it, and I shouldn't have said it how I said it.
But this is the whole problem with the apologies. People are apologizing to us and we don't know what they're apologizing for.
Yeah, we need to know.
This is the whole problem.
Okay.
And they think that just by saying I'm sorry, you know, it will win our sympathy. Please, we are not winning any sympathy by apologizing for nothing.
Okay.
You know, or for apologizing for things which are only in your head. You understand?
Okay.
That's the whole point about these
All right.
apologies. They have lost meaning.
Okay. Now, Uncle, see, I'm glad that you're here. In fact, last week there was an issue I wanted to would have loved to run by you because it trended. In fact, most of the newspapers carried it, was also online and so on and so forth. But there's been some updates, even though it's not been carried by the newspapers, but it's online and all. And it has to do with Ghana's decision to accept some West African nationals who have been deported from the United States of America as part of a major crackdown by the Trump administration. And it saw some, I believe, 16 West African nationals who came down here. You know, before they came, there was a big talk about whether Ghana should accept them or not. And if Ghana was going to accept them, the matter should have come to Parliament for Parliament to ratify it in line with, I believe, Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. And Ablakwa, then the Foreign Affairs Minister, explains that this is not an agreement, you know, in the sense, you know, strictly speaking. And that these are West African nationals who, according to ECOWAS protocols, are free to move about anyway. So you don't need any special MOU for Parliament to ratify. So it became a big topic between the NPP, a big debate between the NPP and DC on this matter. In fact, the minority held a press conference and spoke against it, and they said, bring it to Parliament, ratify it. In any case, you have the numbers, you can easily do it. And lo and behold, the West African nationals came. Of course, some had to, they proceeded to Togo, those who came from Togo, and I believe some other countries. I don't know whether we still have them here. But when the whole matter came up, the big question that some journalists were asking, a section of the Ghanaians were asking, was what was in it for Ghana? Because usually in diplomatic relationship, we talk about reciprocity. So you do me, I give you something, I take something in return. And at the time, we were told that there was nothing there. We don't take money. You know, as in the case of Uganda, we didn't accept any money, no financial inducement, nothing. Fair. So what is in it for us? We're told there was nothing in it for us. And then on Thursday, the Foreign Affairs Minister was on, I think on Saturday, yes, this Saturday, Foreign Affairs Minister was on a platform and actually said, well, we had to accept with West African national because we also told the Americans that, look, you've banned us for 5 years. Now we can't go and take 5-year visa. Reverse it. Bring us back to that 5-year visa instead of a 3-month visa. And that was what was agreed, based on which Ghana was prepared to take these West African nationals. And now we have a 5-year back. Interestingly, as soon as in fact, as soon as we announced that we had accepted the West African nationals, I think the following day or two, that big announcement was made. A major breakthrough was made where the Foreign Affairs Minister declared that, look, now you can go and apply for 5-year visa, multiple visa. The video actually trended. I don't know whether, Bright, do we have that video? If we do, okay, I'm told we have it, but we'll play it at some point. Okay, so what do you make, first of all these issues, what this talk about us accepting West African nationals and whether it was a good idea or bad idea, especially looking at the Gitmo 2 matter, where Parliament was, you know, where the Supreme Court, was it the Supreme Court or the High Court, was very categorical that any time you're accepting foreigners here, you have to go and inform Parliament for Parliament to say, go ahead and do it before. You know, I don't know what you make of all that debate that came up. I'm sure you were in Venezuela at the time.
No, it started before I
okay.
left
Sure.
Caracas,
All right.
you know. But, Mo, let's start it this way.
Okay.
Ghana should not be the dumping ground for any country anywhere in the world. And it doesn't matter whether what is being dumped are ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison, or deportees, or second-hand clothing. Ghana should not become anybody's dumping ground. And that's a principle we should uphold. You understand? We should conduct international relations in a manner which raises our dignity, upholds our dignity. First and foremost, our dignity as a people. You understand? When you begin to conduct international relations, you know, in the same manner that things are prostituted, then there's a problem with foreign policy. You understand? So there should be a principled stand. Avoid dumping, and every nation that we deal with, every authority that we deal with in the world must understand that our dignity as a people cannot be sacrificed for any other thing. This is the basis upon which I think we should conduct foreign policy. This whole idea that, in diplomacy, you give something to get something and so on is annoying in the extreme. You see, it's very annoying in the extreme. Because it seems to suggest that everything is up for sale.
Right.
Including our dignity, including our fundamental rights and so on. I mean, that's not the kind of foreign policy that Nkrumah and others, you know, conducted. The underlying principle is the protection of national sovereignty. The underlying principle is the protection of national dignity and so on. And it's for this reason that many of us were staunchly opposed to the dumping of ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison on Ghana. You remember that?
Yes.
You opposed that very vehemently. So we should have the same principle extending to all. Now, one argument was made, which was that these people who were being deported were West Africans, and that under the ECOWAS protocol, West Africans are free to come to Ghana for a 90-day period. You understand? So, the weakness in that argument is that West Africans who want to take advantage of the ECOWAS protocol and its 90-day, arrangement and so on, ought to do so on their own free will. On their own free will. If they are compelled, by force and so on, it becomes dumping. It becomes complete dumping and so on. So I think we have to look at that and also understand that very, very clearly. In any case, the West Africans who were brought here were not happy with the fact that they were coming here anyway, and that's why they went to court, through their lawyer and so on. Now, these deportations which are being carried out in the US and other places, talk to the Africans. They're very unhappy about it. Even talk to African Americans and so on. They're very unhappy about it because some have claimed that there's a tinge of racism. And if that were the case, why would a government like the government of Ghana want to be implicated in this whole thing which is so unsavory, which has led to some abuse of the fundamental rights of U.S. citizens? There's a case of the guy who is actually married to an American citizen, has children by an American woman and so on, who was actually not deported to his own country, but was deported to a third party. And congressmen and so on had to come in and try and get him back into the United States. And so it's messy, you understand? So our government should not be complicit in the violation of the rights of citizens anywhere. The rights of asylum seekers and so on. We should not be complicit. It seems to me that we have not taken a clear principled stand on this matter. And I'm worried about the aesthetics. The aesthetics are not looking good at all. The aesthetics are not looking good. Especially as in the final analysis, we've had to deport them. Okay? And I listened to the lawyer who took the case to court. And the lawyer argues that one of the...
That's qualified, isn't it?
Yes.
Back up on
yes. One of the arguments that the Trump administration had used in order to, bypass the court processes in the U.S. and so on was that they would not be deported to anywhere where they face danger.
Yeah.
And yet Ghana accepted them and deported them. To what extent was that a violation of the pledges which the Trump administration had made? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there could be a violation in there, you understand? So please, let us conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let's conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let us uphold our dignity. Don't let us look like doormats for other governments and so on. We cannot be doormats for anybody. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. This is where in 1958 we had the All African People's Conference. This was the center of the struggle for liberation in Africa. You understand? This became home of Dot Padmore. This became a center which attracted Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and so on. Don't let us destroy that value. That's an important value we have to hang on to. Because it's about our dignity as African people. I mean, the whole morning we spent considerable amount of time discussing reparations and so on and so on. Our president is the AU champion for reparation. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which undermines national sovereignty. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which would create the impression that our citizenship is inferior to others and so on. That's all I have to say.
But Uncle C, I've just two quick questions. I mean, we have a foreign policy that says we're friends to all, enemies to none. That's our foreign policy. We're friends to all, enemies to none.
I think that's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy.
Okay.
Read that foreign policy doctrine.
But that's what the foreign minister is saying.
We are implacably opposed to racism.
True.
Our foreign policy
Yes.
is implacably opposed to racism.
Yes.
Our foreign policy is opposed to colonial occupation.
Right.
Our foreign policy is opposed to all violations of rights of citizens and so on.
Right.
So we are not a neutral country, friends to all and enemies to none and so on. That's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy. There are principles that our foreign policy upholds. Okay?
Okay.
There are clear principles that our foreign policy upholds.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
And that is why, for example, President John Dramani Mahama only recently donated, 40 tons of cocoa products to Palestine.
Yes.
That's not based on friends with all and enemies to none and so on. It's based on a concrete policy of being opposed to colonial occupation and racism, being opposed to genocide and so on. That is why the president gave that brilliant address in the United Nations.
Yes, I haven't even picked your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant address in the United Nations. You understand? If our foreign policy meant taking no stand and so on, why was the president taking such a bold stand in the UN and so on? So we should drop that whole idea of friends to all and enemies to none and so on. It's not true. We are enemies to racism.
Okay. So the foreign minister builds a point and says, look, Ghana is the Mecca of Africa. We have been championing Pan-Africanism for God knows how long, starting from the likes of Nkrumah and so on and so forth. And these are our brothers. They are Africans. They have been deported from where they are because they are overstayed, they are welcome and so on and so forth. So if they are distressed and they need some kind of support, and we have the capacity and the capability to support them, why reject them? In any case, they are not going to stay here forever. They are only using Ghana as a transit point. What do you make of that argument?
The problem with that argument is that it would then appear that it is these West African citizens who are asking to come to Ghana.
Okay.
But you know that is not the case.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
They are fighting with a foreign power and saying that the foreign power is mistreating them, maltreating them.
Yeah.
They want their rights to be respected. The foreign power says, no, dumping you in Ghana. And Ghana says, please come and dump them here. That's a different situation. You understand? In any case, why? There are aircrafts flying between all the American states and Lagos and Abuja and so on. So why are Nigerians not being taken to Nigeria?
We asked that question too.
It's an important question. I mean, it's not like the only aircrafts which fly out of the United States fly into Ghana.
Yeah.
They fly to Togo. They fly to Nigeria. They fly to Liberia. They fly to Senegal. They fly to all those places. So why this arrangement for Ghana? I don't understand it. Maybe you do.
No, but it turns out
Yeah.
that we agreed to accept or to accommodate these West African nationals because we needed America to reverse this ban on a 5-year visa matter.
So, but I've addressed that. I mean, that would sound more like prostitution.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there are many Ghanaians who were not happy with this ban on this 5-year visa thing.
So what? So what?
But the government is there to set the
so do anything. Do anything, even if it undermines your dignity.
What do you have against the reversal of the ban?
I don't have anything against the reversal of the ban.
Yes.
What I have
Yes.
something against
Yes.
is prostituting foreign policy.
Okay.
There are two different things. Look, why? If the United States grants Ghanaians 20 years visa and so on, what do I care? You understand? But my dignity as a Ghanaian ought not to be sacrificed in order for those who want to go to the US for 5-year visa and so on to get their visas.
Okay.
Our sovereignty cannot be compromised. It should not be compromised under any circumstance. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes.
So
Thank you for staying tuned. PENDREAM TV really appreciates your time and say God bless you for the good work you are doing and continue to do. Please, if you have really enjoyed this episode, do leave a comment at the comment section below. And don't forget to share, like, and also subscribe for more videos as well. Until next time, keep watching PENDREAM TV, keep engaged, and keep sharing the link. Thank you.
Dedi kama PENDREAM TV ase. Now, so far so good. say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV.